Welcome to the Giants Prospect Profile, a mini-series we do here within the Giants franchise where we go over top prospects throughout the organization. And this is not that. Well, sorta. So I got a comment the other day from someone named Skippy Lou that basically laid out the idea to do a couple minor league focused episodes per season instead of just doing the prospect profiles. I thought this was actually an interesting idea, so I decided to do at least one of these and put it out there just to see if this is something that the people who actually watch my channel would like as a part of the series. Now, I obviously played with whoever was on the roster of the AA and AAA teams, but when I was going over some of the prospects individually, I made the decision to not focus too much on any of the top prospects within the organization at the moment, because I feel like prospect profiles are something that I've been doing on this channel since 2015, and I don't want to just completely scrap that as a part of the series. So I figured I would do these minor league baseball focused episodes, maybe one, maybe two per season, as well as the prospect profiles for the top prospects. That way the C potential guys who aren't necessarily top prospects, I'm doing air quotes right now, but could still play a role on the team in the future, will get some shine in the series much earlier than they normally would if I was just doing prospect profiles, because obviously prospect profiles, I would choose the better prospects to do earlier, and then once I ran out of guys, then I would start doing those C potential guys who you don't really hear about. But I actually am very curious how the people who watch my content actually feel about this, so don't be afraid to leave me a comment, let me know how you feel about this, if you have any ideas for a possible addition to this, or things I could do better. Whatever it may be, let me know down in the comments how you feel, and let's get into the actual episode. Let's take a look at the AAA team, shall we? The Sacramento Rivercats playing host to the Omaha Storm Chasers here at Bayfront Park. Brandon Beachy, the veteran right-hander, getting the nod for Sacramento, making his 12th start of the year. He's had a good year for the Rivercats so far. Lineup led by the big bat of Chris Shaw, playing left field in the 2-hole today. And we'll start things off in the top half of the first. Michael Gigliotti is going to go down looking on the 90-mile-an-hour fastball. After that full count strikeout on the big breaker to Cheslor Cuthbert. Onto the top of the second, Nicky Lopez hitting a chopper back to Beachy, showing off some athleticism by getting Lopez over at first base. And then to top off the inning, another strikeout on the big breaker. We move on to the top of the third. Brett Phillips dropped third strike. Stephen Vogt tosses over to first, and he would retire the runner. Ryder Jones comes to the plate for the Sacramento Rivercats in the bottom half of the third, and he's hopping on that first pitch and sending it a long way. That one is way out of here. Ryder Jones picks up a solo shot, puts the Rivercats up by one, 415 feet, drops the bat and everything. That one is on the beach. And now we move on later into the inning. Breivik Valera check swing, an awkward play as it hits the front of the bag, and the third baseman did not expect that. Nobody expected that. So Valera over on first base. That brings up the big bat of Chris Shaw, who has been hitting quite well, but not in this AB, as he's going to pop that one up into foul territory. The first baseman will range back and put that one away. And we move on to the bottom half of the fourth now, where Connor Joe, the DH, is at the plate, and he's going to hit a ball to deep left center field, but it's going to die out at the warning track as it's put away for an easy out. So top half of the sixth inning, the Storm Chasers still have no outs as Donovan Solano makes a nice play in the hole there, backhand and then throw from the hole, and then Beachy would then strike out Brewer Hicklin. Move on to the top of the seventh. Still no hits for the Storm Chasers as Gigliotti goes down swinging. After that, Cheslor Cuthbert takes what should have been strike three. Ump squeezes Beachy, and then the next pitch is taken the other way for a base knock. The first hit of the game breaks the no-hitter that Beachy had going. So Cuthbert on first, and then Nick Prado, the first baseman, hits a single up the middle. So it's first and second, 2 outs, 0-1 count now to Nicky Lopez, the second baseman, and he's going to hit a line drive that just keeps carrying and barely scrapes over the fence. A 3-run shot for Nicky Lopez, and the Omaha Storm Chasers have themselves a 3-1 lead. Pat Venditti, the ambidextrous pitcher, comes on in the top of the 8th inning for Sacramento. Full count, gets the batter out in front. Stephen Vogt picks that one up, tosses over to first, and that was a right-handed appearance there for Venditti, and now pitching from the left-handed side, gives up a double to Brewer Hicklin. That's going to get down into the gap. Easy double for him. And then next batter after that would be Gigliotti, who is going to be out in front of one, ground over to first base. Easy out for Sacramento. So Pat Venditti pitches a scoreless top half of the 8th. Move on to the bottom half of the frame for Adam Brett Walker, recently called up to AAA. Is going to club one over the head of the third baseman for a base knock to lead off the bottom half of the 8th inning, and then with 2 outs, down to their final strike, and it's going to be a hit and run, a perfectly executed one at that. Brett Walker goes to third. Take another look at that one. Solano hits it right where the second baseman was running away from to cover the stolen base opportunity, and that gets through, so it's runners on the corners. That would end Brady Singer's day for Omaha. Bring on the flamethrowers Josh Staumont and Breivik Valera. 1-0 count goes up the middle for a base knock. 1 run comes in. It's now a 1-run game. 3-2 is the score. The lefty Brian Flynn comes on for Omaha to face the left-handed bat of Chris Shaw. Hitless on the day, but overall in the season having a very good year, and he jumps on the first pitch because he liked what he saw, and boy, he did not miss. A 3-run shot for Chris Shaw, and the Sacramento River Cats are back on top thanks to Chris Shaw's 9th home run of the season. 5-3 is the score. Take another look at this one. A line drive into the right field seats, a little bit higher than Nicky Lopez's home run earlier in the game. Ray Black, the fireballer, comes on. Eric Mejia at the plate goes down looking on 100 miles an hour on the black. Then with 2 outs, 100 miles an hour on the knuckles gets him to pop up. And that's going to be a save for Ray Black as the River Cats win this one over the Omaha Storm Chasers here at home. A very nice game for Brandon Beachy on the hill. His only 3 hits given up, of course, were those 2 singles, and then, of course, the 3-run shot that gave the Storm Chasers a 3-1 lead, but the River Cats bats picked him up, and they ended up getting the win for Pat Venditti and getting Beachy off the hook. Chris Shaw picks up his only hit of the game, being that 3-run shot that put the River Cats out in front. Ryder Jones had a solo shot that put him out in front 1-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. And now taking a closer look at some of the AAA players, Chris Shaw, of course, the biggest bat on this AAA team. He is an outfielder, mainly a corner outfielder. He's one of those C potential guys. He's 25 years old. He's got pretty good contact and power, definitely could play at the major league level, but his vision or discipline is very lacking, so he's not going to walk very much, and he's also probably going to strike out a decent amount, which isn't what you like to see, but he is a guy who could be serviceable at a corner outfield position. And he can play well enough defense to play corner outfield, but he's definitely not going to be winning any gold gloves at any of those positions. And like I said, he has been tearing up AAA in the Pacific Coast League as he is slashing .328, .370, .535. That is a .908 OPS. That is highest on the River Cats. We also saw Ryder Jones, who is the River Cats' 3rd baseman. We saw him hit a homer, a solo shot, but despite him doing that in this video, his defense is his more polished skill, not so much his offense. He's got 67 reaction, 71 arm accuracy, 61 fielding. The guy can play a pretty legit third base, but he's not exactly a guy who's going to hit at the major league level. At least when you look at his ratings on paper, those ratings don't translate to good bat in the major leagues. And he is a C potential guy. He is only still 24 years old. He's a C potential guy, so he's probably not going to get too much better. As of right now, he's just the kind of a guy who could possibly come up and play some third base if we really needed him to. He's also not even producing offensively in AAA. He's only got a 705 OPS. Brandon Beachy was today's starting pitcher, and if you've been following baseball for any sort of time, especially National League Baseball, you probably remember Brandon Beachy. He was a pretty decent young pitcher for the Atlanta Braves in the early 2010s. He came up, had a good year for them, and then he got 2 Tommy John surgeries when he was with the Braves. He ended up getting 1. He came back, wasn't really the same, and then he got another Tommy John, and then he ended up trying to come back with the Los Angeles Dodgers. That really didn't work out too well for him. He thought they were going to win. He thought he was going to win the spring training, the starting job at a spring training. Didn't end up happening. Also suffered some elbow tendonitis. That kind of ended that stint with the Dodgers. Then he was out of baseball for a few years, and then I believe last season he pitched an independent ball with the New Britain Bees, if I'm not mistaken, and now this year he is with the San Francisco Giants minor league organization in AAA with us, having a very good year. He's got a 2.54 ERA, a 2.97 FIP, and 71 innings pitched, 69 strikeouts, and as long as he continues to stay healthy, once the inevitable purge of our pitching staff happens at the trade deadline, he is 100% going to be on the big league club this year, so look forward to that once the trade deadline passes. Connor Joe is another player you saw in this video. He's 26 years old, see potential, more of a utility player. He can play third base and first base, corner outfield, and play might be generous though, because he's not exactly any good at playing defense. The thing about him is that his bat is pretty decent, especially against left-handed pitching. His vision and discipline also not too shabby, so the guy could probably hit at the major league level. It's just, we're in the National League, so there's no DH, and he's not good defensively, and we don't need a first baseman since Brandon Belt's there. We also have Tyler Austin. We've got plenty of other guys who can play first base if we really wanted to. So Connor Joe, not really, he doesn't really have a role. He's more suited to be a corner outfielder on the Giants. But I don't think he's really going to be a huge part of the future of this team. Who knows? He could hit his way into our plans, but as of right now, it doesn't look like he's going to be very much of a huge role in this organization. However, he is hitting pretty decently well in AAA right now, as he has the second highest OPS on the team, only behind Chris Shaw. But now, let's move on to the AA portion of the episode. Let's take a look at the AA team, shall we? The Richmond Flying Squirrels playing host to the New Hampshire Fisher Cats here at Main Street Field. Sean Jelly, the 6'11" starting pitcher, getting the nod for Richmond. And then Richmond's lineup led by the top prospect catcher Joey Bart in the 2-hole. Start things off top half of the first inning. Fields is going to go down to start off the game, swinging on strikes. After that, with a runner on first, it's Eric Sogard. He's going to go down on a back foot slider, and after that, it'll bring up Grosjean's the best bat in the lineup for New Hampshire. He's also going to go down, but on a curveball. So 3 strikeouts for Jelly in the top of the first, and then in the bottom half of the first, Bryce Johnson, the Texas-born outfielder, going to hit one opposite way down the left field line. Easy 2-bagger for him to lead off the game. And then Joey Bart coming into this one with a 6-game hitting streak. He's not going to waste any time. First pitch he sees, 7-game hitting streak. That one out of here. Off the scoreboard in left field, a 2-run shot for the top catching prospect Joey Bart, and Richmond has themselves a 2-0 lead. Taking a look at this one, 430 feet. Joey Bart, he is going to be something special in San Francisco in due time. Another top prospect for the Giants comes to the dish, and Ramos hits a ball hard in the right field, but he's going to be robbed by the diving glove of Anthony Alford, a former highly touted prospect in the Blue Jays organization. And then move on to the bottom of the second, where the brother of Nolan Arenado in Jonah Arenado comes to the plate, takes a 1-1 pitch into left field for a base knock. Leads off the bottom half of the second, gets on base. After that, he would go and swipe second base. So he's in scoring position with a swiped bag. After that, Ryan Howard, who has been absolutely garbage against right-handed pitching, but not a miss at bat. First pitch swinging, going down the right field line. They'll get into the corner. It'll be an RBI double for the shortstop Ryan Howard as he awkwardly runs into second base. And then Jalen Miller, recently called up from Class A, making his first appearance at the AA level. Hard hit ball to right field, right at Anthony Alford, though, and they would not tag up. So runner on second with 2 outs brings up Bryce Johnson, and he has himself another double on the day, already getting another at-bat in the next inning. He already hit in the bottom of the first. And it's going to be a 4-0 Richmond lead. Move on to the top of the third. Alberto Mineo, the catcher for New Hampshire is going to put them on the board with a solo shot. Jelly makes a mistake, and the opposing catcher makes him pay. 4-1 is the score now. Later on in the inning, Parker Cantwell, I'll tell you what he can't do well, and that's get a hit as he grounds out to Zach Green over at first base. Move on later in the inning. Fields is going to go down swinging, and then so is Galat. He's going to come to the plate and go down on the 2-seamer, cutting inside on his hands. Move on to the fourth now. Eric Sogard hitting the ball over to Jonah Arenado, and he is not quite his brother at the hot corner. Makes an error. Sogard reaches on it. Take another look at that one. Just keeps it in front of him, but he could not react in time to get the at least decently fast Eric Sogard. But then, in the top half of the fourth later on in the inning, he turns a around-the-horn 5-4-3 double play. Bottom of the fourth now, and Jalen Miller continues to get babbipped as another hard-hit ball goes for an out. Kieran Lovegrove, the official minor leaguer of Cespedes Family Barbecue, comes on for Richmond now. 4-1 lead. He strikes out Grosjeans, and then with one out and a runner on first, Alford would ground into an around-the-horn double play to end the inning. A very nice turn from Jonah Arenado. Jordan Romano comes on for New Hampshire. Still a 4-1 game, bottom of the seventh, and Jalen Miller's not going to get babbipped here. This one to deep right center, bounces in front of the track, up over the wall. A ground rule double for Jalen Miller. After that, it would be Bryce Johnson hitting the ball down the right field over the head of Alford. Another ground rule double. That would score Miller 5-1 ball game. Later on in the inning, Zach Green comes to the dish, hits a ball into right field past the diving glove of Anthony Alford, and it's going to score 2. It's going to be a triple for Zach Green, a 2-run triple, and it's now a 7-1 lead for Richmond. Adam Kloffenstein then comes in for the Fisher Cats to try to limit the damage. Runner on third, one out. Abital Avellino hits a ball into right. It'll be caught by Alford, but it's going to be enough to tag up the runner. 8-1 is the lead now. Move things on to the top of the ninth, where Carlos Navas comes on for Richmond out of the pen, and he would strike out Gillot to get the first out of the inning on the big slider there. And then he would jam Grosjeans to get a pop-up into deep left field. Somehow fought enough to hit it just in front of the warning track, and that's going to be a pop-up to end the game as the Richmond Flying Squirrels easily win this one over the New Hampshire Fisher Cats by a score of 8-1. The Texas-born outfielder Bryce Johnson got Player of the Game honors. He was 3 for 5 in the day with 3 doubles, 2 runs driven in. Joey Bart was 1 for 4. He had a 2-run shot. And Sean Jelly, the 6'11 starting pitcher, went 6 innings strong, struck out 7, only gave up 1 earned run on 2 hits. Now let's take a closer look at some of the AA players. First on the list is Bryce Johnson, that Texas-born outfielder was playing center field leading off on the day. He was originally in Class A when I started the franchise, and I was like, hey, this guy's got a decent hitting stats, he's got decent potential, pretty good in the field, decently fast. He was a C potential switch hitter. I was like, hey, maybe this guy could be something if he has a good season. He had a bad April, immediately dropped down to a D potential. Not what you like to see. I'm hoping he's able to get back to a C, though, because if he does improve, he has an outside chance to become at least a decent 4th outfielder maybe in his career. Carlos Navas, right-handed pitcher out of the bullpen, 26 years old, C potential. I just personally liked how it felt pitching with him in game. Doesn't have the greatest ratings, but he throws decently hard. I liked how it felt pitching with him in game, so he could possibly be a guy who's going to be in the Major League bullpen once all those trades do happen at the deadline. Jonah Arenado, the brother of Nolan Arenado, is in our system. He's a third baseman. Not really anything special. He's not quite the player that his brother is. He's just, I guess it's just kind of cool to have him in the system. Doesn't really have a future in the organization, though I doubt even makes it past this season. Melvin Adone. This is a guy who I did not show in the actual video, but I did use him. It was just a boring inning, so I didn't really show it to cut down time. But in the game, he was throwing 91 to 92 on his fastball, and I remember reading an article during spring training on the Giants by Mike Petriello about how this guy was throwing like 102, 103 in spring training, and I was like, I remember reading an article like that, so I looked it up, and it turns out, yep, he does have the ability to hit 102, 103 on the gun. Usually sits anywhere from 95 to 97 consistently, though. That's definitely not 91, 92, so I'm definitely going to be giving him a bump in velocity with his rating. And with that being said, that's going to wrap things up here for the first ever minor league focused episode of a Jersey-born franchise series. Obviously, we've done prospect profiles for a while now, but we've never done a in-depth as this minor league focused episode on both teams at the same time, highlighting a full game from each team. If you guys enjoyed it, let me know down in the comments. If you don't want to see any more of it, also let me know. If you want to see this combined with the prospect profiles as one video, let me know. If you want to see prospect profiles as still their own separate thing as well as this to continue going, also let me know. Just let me know how you feel about it. So I've been your host, Jersey Born, and I am saying, You Was in the Club by Boy Boy West Coast is the song of the summer.